I think it's important that you're always trying to, change and grow and become.
Yeah, for me, I like to order different stuff. I always go for the dish that I haven't tried before. So I don't like
Exactly.
even for wine, like even I know I like this wine a lot, I always want to try a different bottle.
And would you say this is abnormal in China, or maybe your influence from America, or is this just your personality in general?
I don't know. Like I've been in
Maybe it's the 88 kids,
Maybe 80.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you like to try new stuff or?
I always like to try
Yeah.
stuff.
What about?
He's spent a lot of time traveling as well.
Yeah. For example, last night my favorite dish was the asparagus because it was new.
Really?
Yeah.
What
It
about
was really good.
what about your friends?
Everyone likes to try new stuff. They don't like to taste the same food over and over again.
So the one signature dish or several signature dishes that never.
Dish is a different story. Yeah. If it's really good, and it's really associated with the restaurant, they will want to taste it when they're here. Yeah.
But would they go back to taste again?
Yeah. Yeah. But not with the exact same menu as before. With some
One signature dish and different combinations. So maybe
Yeah.
that's our way of doing pairing, right?
Right.
Oh yeah, maybe that's also our way of why we like control, because of for people who are very aesthetic in ordering Chinese food, the ordering is part of the creation, like the way like how you order different dishes, how you choose to combine them, and also the sequence of presenting the food is very it's very essential to the whole experience, and someone who knows how to order would have a very different effect.
In our restaurant, we also change for them. For example, we make sure when they come the next time, they don't have the exact same menu as last time, but we just choose for them.
Yeah, but I think, and this is like what kind of Edward kind of enlightened me to the local preferences, is that we can change some and you can choose some dishes for them, but they also need to have some choice, and that's why we have these supplements now, and I offer the signature dish as an option, but I never put it on the main menu. So like
What's that signature dish?
the chicken. It's not mine.
Oh
it's
the
chicken.
pot chicken.
Yeah. So
Sourdough.
yeah. So if guests come and they love the signature dish, or they want to show it to a friend or something, they can order it, but the menu doesn't have that anymore. And because I was getting sick of cooking the same thing. I wanted to keep trying new stuff. So.
Yeah, I think it's actually a good balance. Like, it's not on the menu; it's still available.
Yeah.
So only people who people would even the people who order this dish for the privileged experience would even feel even more privileged.
Right.
Or
exactly.
In the know.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was one question I prepared before, and I think it's a good time to ask that question. Because you are a foreigner coming to China to do Chinese food. I don't say Chinese food. You are doing Chinese.
said last night it was Cantonese food.
No, that's from the article. The article says you are more than Cantonese, and you agreed to the term because you didn't like fusion. You didn't like the word fusion.
I didn't create that word. Some guests that come in say, "Oh, you're kind of like a modern Cantonese restaurant." And when guests tell me that, I like it. I like it much more than "Oh, I like your fusion concept," or
Yeah, me too.
So I think it's kind of cool because it's
only that I don't view it as modern Cantonese. I view it as modern Chinese.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that because you use Chinese ingredients, you use Chinese seasoning. Maybe not the traditional Chinese seasoning, but your ingredients are from here. Then of course it's
it is Chinese food technically.
Chinese food, maybe not Chinese cooking or
cuisine.
Cuisine,
I mean, even that's in the evolution. Before, I think we were a little bit more closer to the palate of Cantonese. But because Shenzhen has so many different people from all over China, it was such I would get a complaint that it's not spicy enough, or we didn't use enough bread, or we didn't do this, or and so I had to kind of open the experience to more than just Cantonese.
So I'm from Yantai,
Okay.
same place as the Wagyu beef
Yeah,
is from.
yeah.
The Wagyu dish is also from
Yeah.
Yantai. And our style is Lu Cai, right? And there are different, there are actually two styles of Lu Cai, which means Shannonese food.
Yeah.
One is the Western, more inland, a lot of jiang sauce and soy sauce.
Yeah.
In the western part, in the eastern part, is a lot of seafood. The fish I had yesterday reminds me of that kind of style of cooking.
Okay.
Yeah, stock, seafood, and lighter seasoning,
Right. Right.
and never overcook. So we also cook shrimp, and the shrimp, the temperature has to be perfect and not overcooked. So, like, I feel in the core of fine dining and the core of the traditional Chinese cooking are much aligned.
I agree with you.
But you didn't go to find wisdom or inspiration from the Chinese style of cooking, no?
Sometimes.
How curious are you in the Chinese cooking, all the Chinese cooking styles?
I mean, I would love to actually spend time in a Chinese kitchen, but it's it's kind of hard right now.
Then priority-wise, learning ingredients and learning cooking styles.
I mean, they're the same, because usually when I find an ingredient, I research how it's cooked locally first, and then I, maybe take some ideas or maybe do something completely different. But I'll always try to do it how the local might prepare the ingredient first. And
Is it hard to learn, or is it very different, the cooking techniques?
To make it good is easy. To make it great is difficult. So I think to be a master, you need many years of experience and lots of understanding. But I think if you just spend time in a kitchen, you already have a certain understanding of how food, proteins, liquids, fats all react to different heat, temperatures, fermentation, acids, all of these things kind of interact. So if you know the foundations of cooking, you can kind of jump in any cooking style and I think somewhat achieve good results. But in Chinese cuisine, and I think you pick certain details that are very, like the Cantonese, the way they steam a fish. Even if I steamed it perfectly, it still wouldn't be good enough, because they wouldn't.
The master to the perfection.
You need to have some sort of street credit. You need to be
street credit, but also the way it's presented. Like Cantonese require it to be right in front of you. You have 10 seconds, and after the 10 seconds is going bad. By the way it's done here, like you cannot do that.
Yeah, exactly. So I can't approach it the same way. I have to do it differently. And we tried to do some ingredients closer to traditional methods, and that was always the biggest rejection in the dining room.
That's true.
And so it's like, okay, I'll cook the way I know how to cook best, maybe with a little bit of influence, or I can improve my skills by understanding another type of skill, you know? And
I think, some hints of the traditional way of cooking can be present in the experience, but too much of it, then you draw yourself into this comparison that you don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. And then you become bad fusion,
Yeah. One big difference I noticed between Chinese cooking and the Western cooking is in the sauce.
Yeah.
Most Chinese sauce is fermented. It's fermented, and the most Western sauce, they never fermented.
Yeah, but I've been doing fermented sauce very early, even in any country I worked in. And I think, it's a big inspiration from Asian countries. And so Western sauces now, I think, have a lot of fermentation involved in them. But like classically, Western sauces don't have a lot of fermentation. But, we season, instead of salt, we use, garums or soy sauces, jiangyus, however you want to call it, made from the ingredient. So instead of fermenting soybeans and rice, we ferment beef and rice.
Ah.
And then we season our beef jus with that. And then instead of adding acid vinegar, which is also a type of fermentation, we might use another type of lacto fermentation. So we're taking the same kind of core way of approaching a Western sauce, but we're adding more flavor and more levels of flavor by using fermentation subtly.
How do you like the last question then?
Okay.
Yeah. So how do you like the work experience here? Like I know since you've been here, it's mostly COVID, right? The pandemic. And
Yeah, I guess I didn't even realize. Yeah, I mean it's good. I miss home a little bit, but in terms of the work environments, it's well balanced. We don't do lunch here, which is I can come into work. I only work 12 hours, which is pretty good for a restaurant.
Yeah, you
life.
mentioned the 16 hours.
Yeah. When I first started some of the jobs, I worked 16 hours.
Yeah.
It depends. Like when I worked on the farm, your work and your life is very much mixed, right? Because you wake up early to feed the
Work-life
animals, but you might spend a couple hours outside in the garden and then go into the kitchen to prepare the ingredients, and you eat with the whole family. So your whole life is kind of about this whole cycle.
Yeah.
Here it's I don't have that privilege, but it's I try to keep a positive work environment. A lot of chefs I get angry sometimes, but most of the time it's about we play music in the kitchen, we try to have fun and laugh and cook good food for each other. It's like
the customers, you start to figure out the customers and
and then I started to figure out the clients, and also our return guests, like Edward's saying, we have quite a lot of information on them, so we can give them dishes that we know what they'll like, and obviously I'd like to do more than we are, but it's it's always balancing what we can handle with the team. Training the staff is also exciting too, and teaching them different ways. And now after 3 years, we've had quite a few people come through the kitchen and move on and continue their success. And, so that's the most rewarding, to be honest. Actually, is seeing the stories of these young generation of Chinese cooks.
Planting seeds.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good metaphor. Planting seeds for the future growth of. And I'm curious to see, because I think China has such a strong history, more than almost any other country. Yeah. And through that history, there's a lot of rules and traditions about cuisine and regions, and a lot of people, like you said, this is how we do it in our region, and this is what we care about.
Yeah.
And it's good to have that, and it's good to have that history, but it sometimes scares people from breaking away from those traditions, from being innovative. And I see, chefs when in China, if they choose to work at like a restaurant like Ensue, they're already making that choice to break away tradition and to see what else. And I've got two chefs that have worked 2 years for me and now are running their own kitchens, and I'm curious to see if I taught them, because it's how they approach innovation and creating a new dish is very foreign for them, and that creativity, and once you spark that, it's like it's exciting to see.
And since they have more knowledge about this tradition, I always feel like you need to respect.
They're going to be better chefs than me because of that.
different chefs. Yeah, like be aware of the tradition, know the context, but don't limit to have the freedom to break them or innovate.
Right.
Yeah. Me too. I really last night after the dinner. I thanked Edward for bringing Ensue to Shenzhen. So this whole experience and the possibilities is very exciting. Yeah. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the interview.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Mysterious AD. All right. Bye.
Bye.